Hi, welcome back to my channel ISSH-NLISH. So in today's video I'm going to cover interrogative sentences. They're not tricky, they are very simple and you will love it. So don't forget to like the video, comment and ask your queries over there, and do subscribe to my channel. So let's get started with interrogative sentences today. So before I jump on to the explanation part, just a quick question, like what are interrogatives? It's a fancy word. So what does it actually mean? So interrogative sentences are question statements, okay? They are asking questions. So these are question sentences, and they are direct questions. There are two types of questions in interrogatives. Either it's from WH family, words like what, when, how, where, and then other are yes and no questions, which are asking and getting answer in yes or no, and they usually start with main verbs like is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had, will, shall. For example, will you bring my purse? Am I coming for the party? Am I invited to the party? So these are yes and no questions. So we are going to talk about more as to what interrogative sentences actually are. I know you guys are very excited. So without further delay, let's get started. So let's see what interrogative sentences actually are. So interrogative sentences are obviously question sentences. So I have written they ask questions. So they are question sentences, and you need to remember that they end in a question mark. That's what your second point over here is, that they end in a question mark, and here is your question mark. And always remember that it cannot end in a full stop or an exclamatory mark, because you are asking question. The answer you get might be in an exclamatory mark or a full stop. That's totally depending upon the question, but interrogatives will definitely end with a question mark. For example, are you ready to go? Again, we have ended it with a question mark. Let me take one more example. So this was your number one. Now let's take second example. Okay, what are you cooking for dinner? Then I am going to put what? Full stop, exclamatory? No, question mark. The answer that you will get for that will be definitely a declarative sentence or an interrogative or an imperative, which will end either in full stop or exclamatory. So you see that interrogatives are purely question statements and question sentences. Okay, now I was explaining in the starting introduction that there are two types of interrogatives. Okay, so one is from WH family, and then second is where you get the answer in yes or no family. This is extremely important for you to know. In WH family, like over here, what are you cooking for dinner? So there would be an answer, I'm cooking dal and rice, I'm cooking meat, etc. And over here, are you ready to go? You would get a simple answer, yes, no, and that's why it belongs to yes and no family. So WH family is this, where you get a longish answer, and yes and no family is where you get a answer in yes or no. So these basically start with helping verbs. Okay. And these include words like what, when, where, who, whose, and likewise, etc. So that was for interrogative sentences. So before we move on, let's discuss how we can form questions. So I told you that there are two types of questions. So how will we form them? So first I am taking yes and no questions. So meaning that the answer you get is either in yes or no. So how are we forming them? Helping verb or auxiliary verb plus your subject, meaning the action done by that person. Then main verb just like doing, watching, running, etc., and the remainder, whatever is left in that part of the sentence. Okay, so let's look here. I'll side by side darken the example so that it is more clearer, okay, more clear to you. So can you swim? So over here I'm just going to overwrite can you swim, and then I will end it in question mark. Now answer of this would be either yes or no. So that is why they are called yes or no questions. So how are we forming? Let's go by again. Helping verb plus subject plus main verb plus the remainder. That means the leftover part of the sentence. Over here, can is that helping verb, swim is the main verb, and subject you is the subject. Now there was nothing else in the sentence, so there is no remainder, and we added a question mark towards the end. Now let's look at second example. Are you feeling better? And question mark. Over here again, so are is helping verb, you is subject, feeling is main verb, and better is the leftover part of the subject, and it ends in a question mark. So that's your yes and no question. Now let's say we want to form a question that doesn't include any yes or no answer. We want a full-fledged answer. So we will use question words like what, when, where, how, whose, whom, and so on. Now let's see how are we forming. Question word plus helping or auxiliary verb. Auxiliary is just another word for helping, so don't get confused. If you don't want to get confused, just remember helping, which is easier. Then your subject and main verb plus remainder. Similarly, like in the above sentence, better was the remainder. Similarly, we might have something over here. Now let's look at the examples. So what will I do? I will start overwriting. Why are you late? So let's see if it is abiding by the rule. Question word why, helping verb are, subject you, and main verb late. Remainder is obviously optional. Okay, you don't have to think that we need to add a remainder. It's totally optional. Now let's look at second sentence. What is he doing with that purse? So again I'm going to overwrite. What is the question word, is the helping verb, he is the subject, main verb is doing, and with that purse is the remainder. That means the leftover part in the sentence that is giving or asking additional information, that purse. So that's how you're going to form your two sentences. Do remember to end it with a question mark. I hope that you liked the video and you understood interrogative sentences properly. If you have any doubts, you can post down in the comments. Do like the video and subscribe to my channel. Also, you can press the bell icon so that you can get the reminder and notification every time I post a video. Do like and subscribe. Bye bye. See you later.